Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. We're getting back into the bodybuilding season. We got a lot of interesting shows coming up, the first of which being the Boston Pro, which is this coming weekend, March 12th, and we're going to have a little bit of a Arnold Classic rematch in men's open bodybuilding. The best name in here, William Bonac, who just took runner-up at the Arnold Classic Ohio, is coming back this weekend to compete again. And you've got a couple other names that also competed in the Arnold and a couple names that didn't. Max Charles, who competed in the Arnold. Phil Clahar, who we last saw at the Tampa Pro versus Ian Valliere. He's going to be doing it. Samson Dowda, who we just saw at the Arnold. Douglas Frucci, Regan Grimes, Justin Mackey, Eslam Muhammad, and Justin Rodriguez. So unfortunately, it looks like Brandon Curry won't be doing the show, so we won't get to see the rematch that everybody wants to see is Brandon versus William Bonac round 2. I guess we're going to have to wait until the Olympia to see that happen. But we are going to get to see Justin come back, and we are going to get to see Samson come back. And what I hope we get to see, because I'm a big fan of Justin, I hope we get to see Justin have a little bit of redemption at this show, and maybe he can peak better because this is a one-day show. Like I explained in the last couple of videos, the Arnold Classic, for the first time ever, it was a 2-day show, meaning there was a prejudging on Friday and then the finals on Saturday, giving the bodybuilders 24 hours to either improve significantly or get worse significantly. And for Justin, that 24 hours looked to be a disadvantage. He was significantly worse at the finals, but maybe, given the opportunity to peak again for a one-day show, maybe we're going to see that crazy sharp version of Justin at both prejudging and the night show. And we do have a little bit of a rematch because Justin, who was 5th, is going to be showing down with Samson, who was 4th. Regan Grimes is also going to be in this lineup, who is outside of the top 6 at the Arnold, looking for some redemption. Max Charles as well. Phil Clahar, we have no idea how he's going to do here. I think he was pushing Ian Valliere at that Tampa Pro. Maybe he could find himself in the top 3 in the show, but I think the odds-on favorite on paper looks to be William Bonac, and maybe we're going to see an even better version of him at this show. And like I said, the competition season is heating up. You got the Arnold Brazil coming up in a couple of weeks. You've also got the Indy Pros coming up in May. Then you've got all the summer shows, and then before we know it, we're right back into the Olympia. Now, next up in the news, let's get into Arnold Classic news, some Strongman news here. Strongman competitor J.F. Caron, who was competing in the Arnold Strongman Classic, suffered a pretty extreme injury during that show. During the log press portion of the competition, he tore both quad tendons and injured his ankle. He put up a post on Instagram, says, "Recovery starts now. I just want to thank the hundreds of fans and friends who wrote to give me their support, also the Arnold Sports team and the Rogue Fitness crew who helped me in this situation. I was so happy to see Dr. Jan Todd and my buddy Maxime Boudreau, when I came back from surgery. Thanks. I will answer everyone as soon as possible." So for those of you that don't know, a double quad tear is one of the gnarliest injuries you can sustain as any type of lifter. But hopefully we can see J.F. Caron compete again, and hopefully he has a speedy recovery. But these types of injuries are pretty devastating ones. Now, next up, also in Strongman news, another interesting story coming from the Arnold Classic. Oleskii Novikov receiving an additional $55,000 at the 2022 Arnold Strongman Classic. This article courtesy of barben.com. Now, the interesting part about this story is that Novikov wants the money because he's going to go back to his home country of Ukraine and intends to actually fight in the war that's going on right now. So in the competition, Novikov ended up placing 2nd, where he would receive a $25,000 prize money, which Arnold Schwarzenegger decided to increase to the full prize money amount, which was $80,000, which is what the winner received, Martins Lisis. Because Novikov intends to use that money towards helping the Ukrainian civilians acquire body armor. That was his specific intention with that money. So shout out to Arnold for, upping the ante on that one. I'll go ahead and roll that clip for you guys right here.
We always see how sports brings everyone together. We've seen here not only the strongest man in the world competing, but we also have seen a Ukrainian athlete and a Russian athlete competing in the same competition. So let's give them a big hand for coming together and competing in the same competition. And we send a message to the world: no wars, peace, peace. And Novikov, I have to tell you that we really, you can stay there, you can stay there, and I come to you. You're very special. I just want to tell you that I know that you have to go back to the Ukraine to fight and to risk your life. And you also, I know that you wanted to take the cash money that you're making here today and donate it to buy body armor to protect innocent people in the Ukraine. And so I just want you to know, because of that, the selflessness of yours and the courage that you show, I just want you to know that we're going to award you not the regular cash prize as the second place winner, but we're awarding the same cash prize that the winner gets, so that you can donate that money for body armor when you go back. Okay? Congratulations, my brother. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much, all of you, for the great work that you've done. God for the work. You're so powerful.
Now, next up in the news, I wanted to take a closer look at Andrew Jacked, who won the Arnold Classic Amateur this past weekend, turning him pro. And I wanted to look at some actual HD photos of Andrew from the competition. I saw some of the clips from the live stream. It wasn't the best lighting from the clips that I saw. It was like screen recorded on an iPhone. But these HD pictures give you a much better idea of how Andrew actually looked. And the thing that I'm most impressed about Andrew is two things. His structure is crazy, and the fullness and roundness that he has is just insane, especially his shoulders and his arms. He's got like that Phil Heath quality that you just can't train for. He's got that roundness that some guys just have and some guys just don't. And if you look at the shot, I believe it was his front lat spread. Look how insanely wide his upper body is. It's just crazy. This guy's V-taper is crazy. The width he's got is crazy. His roundness and fullness is crazy. I think he's going to be insanely dangerous as an IFBB pro. And that being said, he does get the invitation to next year's Arnold Classics. He's got a whole year between now and then to improve. And I think the main thing, looking at these photos that he needs to improve upon, is A, his conditioning. If you look at the back photos, there's no striations in his glutes. Very few striations in his hamstrings, if any. It's really hard to see. Lower back, you can see kind of those wrinkles, those folds. That's usually a sign of holding water. So we could definitely see Andrew a lot tighter. But then look at his upper body. Look at the crazy roundness in his shoulders and arms and the back double bicep. It's insane. So I think it says a lot that he could win the show with conditioning that was off, and that he could look as good as he did with conditioning that was off. Because I do want to make it clear, after I looked at the pictures, I think he could have came in a lot sharper, especially in the lower body. The upper body doesn't look that bad. I will say it also looks like he brought up his legs quite a bit. It looks like his legs are significantly bigger than some of the first couple times that we saw him pose and some of the first few times that we saw him on stage. The other thing that I would like to see him bring up a little bit is his chest, especially in some of the side poses like the side chest. I don't know if he had some kind of maybe pec injury, but this side chest shot here, I don't know if it's just a weird picture or what, but his chest just looks weird at that angle. But there's no question about it. The guy has insane genetics. He's got an insane physique. And I think if we can imagine this physique even more peeled, which it could be a lot more peeled, I'm going to be completely brutally honest. He needs to really tighten up the conditioning when he, comes and competes at the Arnold as a pro next year. The size that he carries with this structure is extremely dangerous. I think he will be a threat if he can come in shape. This type of roundness, this type of 3D look, this type of structure, this is just something you either have or you don't, and Andrew has it. I'm really looking forward to his pro career. I think he's going to be very competitive if he can nail that conditioning. It's going to be the big thing. But shout out to Andrew on earning the pro card. It was cool to look back and kind of see these photos and see how he looked. I am impressed. Look at that back double bicep one more time. Look at the delts on this guy. Look at the arms on this guy. It's just, it's mind-blowing. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, finally, another strict curl story at the Arnold Classic, was the first ever 2022 Arnold Classic Strict Curl Invitational. Now, one lifter at that event that really stood out to me was this guy right here, the Juggernaut, who was not only one of the best lifters at the event, he was a tested lifter. And during this event, he completed the heaviest tested strict curl ever, 210 pounds. He also successfully opened with 200 pounds, which was the heaviest tested strict curl opener of all time, and his final attempt was 227, which he did not complete. But I wanted to give a shout out to one of the best strict curlers in the world and also the best natural strict curler of all time. I was actually at the expo watching part of this event, and it really makes me want to get back into strict curl and compete in strict curl at next year's Arnold Classic. So I'm gonna be working on that for the next year and see what I can do as far as 2023 strict curl at the Arnold. That's gonna wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did in fact enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.